This week we dig through our scrap wood and make a bunch of cool cutting boards.
What's this? What's this? You like that? It's too big for a stick.
Well, for a lot of reasons that'll become clear in the coming weeks, we really needed to clean up the wood shop. And that includes getting rid of a bunch of these narrow hardwood cutoffs, and we collected quite a bit of these over the years. It's kind of hard to throw them away or turn them into firewood when, you paid a lot for them. And so we had some maple and walnut and cherry and a couple of other varieties that we thought would make for good cutting boards. Really nice chunk of walnut here.
What, is that a stick for you? You like that one?
So the wood cutoffs that we did have allowed us to cut them in two different thicknesses. Most of the stock got cut down to 1 inch in total thickness, but we had some bigger pieces that we could cut down into 1.25 inches, like those walnut blocks, and Matt scarfed those up pretty quickly. And so now it was a matter of just trimming all of the stock that we had collected that we thought would make good donors for a cutting board. And now this is the fun part, because you don't really know what you're thinking of in terms of a design until you lay out the pieces, mix up the colors, and get creative. And right away, Matt, I said, snagged the walnut, so he was interweaving thicker walnut with some thinner maple. And I kind of like the look of the cherry strips with the maple here.
This has got to be
Mixed in a cherry.
glued, planed, glued and planed, then cut, rotate, glue, plane, yada yada yada.
Right.
So most of my boards were just going to be a straight glue up after I figured out the pattern that I like. Matt was going to wind up doing some additional cutting after his first glue up.
Dash, where's my stick? Give me my stick. Gimme. Come here, gimme my stick.
Yeah, this one's toast. But if it hits the floor, it's Dash's to pick up. And here's Matt's first glue up with that thicker walnut stock. I also like the look of my other very simple designed hard maple cutting board with a thick stripe of red African padauk down the center. And I also built a couple of other boards with alternating colors because I'm going to do a cross-cut pattern like Matt, but my squares will be a little smaller. So after my first glue up, I'm going to cut these down into 3/4 inch squares or strips, and when I alternate the pattern, it'll look a little bit like a chessboard. I thought this looked pretty cool. So one more glue up on these new strips. Now, after Matt had done his second crosscut, he glued those back together, and I really like the alternating pattern of this staggered block design. In fact, he features end grain on that walnut. And man, the walnuts were really coming down. But with some more finish work to do, we've got 8 pretty decent looking cutting board candidates here. So Matt had to do some final cuts on his boards to take off the excess wood on the edges, but they're really starting to look good. And here's that end grain walnut board. Now, I've actually done this before on a couple of other cutting boards, and I drill a 1-inch hole in the corner of the board, and that allows you to actually hang them in your kitchen as a decoration. It's also kind of handy to stick your thumb in the hole if you're carrying the board as a serving tray. So plenty of rough and finish sanding on these boards, but that didn't take too long. And we took all of the boards down to 220 grit paper to give them a smooth enough finish but rough enough to accept the butcher block finish. And this is a combination of food-safe mineral oil and beeswax, but it's the perfect finish for these food-safe boards. And you have to be careful because you're not trying to separate the glue layer here, but warm it up enough for the beeswax to soak into the wood grain. And then you wipe off the excess with paper towel, and they're good to go. I really dig how the spalted maple board came out, and I like the cherry mixed with maple. Matt's end grain walnut board is really fantastic. And my little checkerboard pattern worked out pretty well. The maple board is also a standout. And Dash, what do you think? Does it taste good? They all came out great. We've got 8 really great cutting boards out of all of that scrap wood piled up in the back of the shop. I hope you give this project a try.